D-Chep, Coach's Corner. Rody in the mic. What we've got is a paddleboard in the water. Chris is going to give our athletes probably 3 good teaching cues on how to use a paddleboard, because it may come up in the games, may not. At the very least, it's pretty fun to freaking do, as that's their favorite recreation nowadays. So, without further ado, Rody.
All right, so here's your stock paddleboard. Looks kind of like a big surfboard. That's how the whole thing got started, with stand-up paddleboard. If you see these in the games, 95% sure you're going to get a board that looks something like this. It's going to be a surf style board. If you look closely, there's a handle, a hole in the middle of the board there. It's the center point, front to back on the board, and it's an important thing to note because it's going to let you know where you should be on the board, whether you're on your knees, or which we'll get to, or whether you're on your feet, which we'll get to. You'll also have some sort of leash attached to the back of it. If you fall off, it's going to keep you connected to your board, so you can get right back to your board, get yourself back up on it, and get going again. And then, of course, wouldn't be stand-up paddle without a paddle. Paddle's a little different than a canoe paddle. It's got a little angle to the blade, which we'll talk about. And you'll probably end up again with something that's adjustable, and we'll talk about how tall the blade should be for you. So, first things first, how do you get on a board? The easiest way to start is just to get on your knees. And I'm just going to attach the leash for demonstration purposes. So you just want to get yourself on your knees. Again, remember that hole here in the center is the front to back center of your board. So it's the balance point. If you're on your knees, you've got your paddle, and you just want to start paddling just like you would a canoe. Nothing to it. If you're in the ocean, we're obviously on pretty flat water here out in the ocean. Even if the weather's calm, you're going to get some bumps. Paddling on your knees may be the way to go. I doubt very much there's going to tell you can't, so paddle on your knees if it's bumpy. If the water for some reason is super calm, you'll be faster if you're standing up. So first things first, how do you stand up? Remember, you got yourself squared between, or the hole squared between your body. All you're going to do is, just like we talk about at the gym with burpees, you're going to replace your knees in this case with your feet. It'll be much easier to do if you've got some forward momentum, just like riding a bike. Keeping your balance is easier if you've got forward momentum. So you just want to get a couple of paddles in. Put your paddle down, replace your knees with your feet, and you're up. The faster you get paddling, the better you'll be able to keep your balance. This board is just barely big enough for me, so it'll be a lot easier for the smaller people, and we've got bigger boards for you to try on Saturday. Okay, so we talked about how to get up. The next thing is the paddle. Remember I talked about it's got an angle on it. You want to get the paddle, there's a couple of different ways to hold it. Basically just get where it's comfortable for you, where your hands are spread apart. And you want that angle of the blade forward. The first part of the paddle stroke is called the catch. And the reason they call it that is that angle of the blade is meant to go in the water and catch you. So it's just like, if you're paddling a canoe, you want to reach out, get that blade in front of you. In this case, the angle of the blade actually catches your weight on the water. Then you just start drawing it back. You finish just past your feet. You don't have to do super long strokes. In fact, it's detrimental to your paddling. In this case, you're lifting the board with that angled blade. You pull it back to your feet, you're already starting to take the blade out, because if you're pushing back, you're just lifting the water. That's putting the brakes on your board, slowing you down. So again, real simple, you just reach out in front, catch yourself, pull it, recover. And then you want to switch sides, because each stroke on the side of the board is going to push it the opposite way, just like paddling a canoe. So you'll be doing some strokes on your right hand side, the board will start to go to the left, switch sides, start paddling on the left, pull you back to the right, and you'll find yourself steering a relatively straight course. Again, if it's bumpy, you get driven down to your knees, just down to your knees, choke up on your paddle now, makes it easier to get those same strokes. The last thing is inevitably you're going to fall off. So you end up in the water, and in this case, surprisingly, I can't touch bottom.
You cannot.
So no big deal. I've got a leash that attaches me to the board. Paddle's still right here. The paddle falls off, it floats. Still got my paddle. And it's just like you would imagine. You pull yourself back up on the board. Find your center again. Get yourself some strokes if you're going to stand up to get some forward momentum, and then jump up to your feet. And that's about it. It's fun. And when you get a chance to give it a try, you know, the biggest thing is just to not panic. The best piece of advice I can give you about saving yourself from falling off is jam the paddle in the water. A lot of people think, I'm falling, they throw their hands up in the air. This acts like your third leg, so to speak. Jam it in the water. It'll stabilize you quicker than anything else you do. So if you feel yourself getting wobbly, stick it out to the side, stick it out in front, anywhere. It's going to help you regain your balance. That's about it, Doug. That's it in a nutshell.
It's a nutshell. It's a nutshell. Coach's Corner. Roadie. Boom.